So I want to share with you something that I shared with my team here that will allow you to sell more life insurance, and it's all by using a blank piece of paper. Now, for me, I used this method when I was selling full-time life insurance. I sold 8 policies or more for over 56 weeks in a row, and it's because of this paper method that I'm going to share with you. Now, I want to break this down to you, but I want to share with you why it's important. When it comes to outbound selling, or when you're selling life insurance over the phone, your goal is that you get leads, you get people, and ultimately some people don't get across the finish line, and some people do get across the finish line. But what do you do when things get slow? And if you use what I'm about to share with you, when things get slow, you can always go back to this little paper method and you can close more deals. I promise you, if you use this, you're gonna make more money without having to do a lot of work, okay? So what is the paper method? The paper method is that every time that you're presenting numbers to someone, so every day I'm trying to quote 5 to 6 people every single day. So I'm gonna have about 5 people that I'm gonna have on paper. So each person is gonna have their own piece of paper. You can use like a long piece of paper like this, or you can use what I used to use is like, printing paper. I'd cut it in half and I'd have one and one, and then I'd go ahead. But no matter what, so when you're speaking to a client, Miss Betty, I'm gonna write her name, Miss Betty Anderson. I'm gonna put all my notes when I'm quoting her, when I'm talking to her. I'm gonna write down her health. I'm gonna write down what she needs, what she's looking for. And then when I quote her, I'm gonna also write down her options. For example, if I quote her $10,000 for $54, I'm gonna put that down on this piece of paper. $10,000 for $54. I quote her the $15,000 for $87. And then the max option, or like a $30,000 option, is like $30,000 for $150, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and circle that. Now let's say she doesn't buy. I don't just forget about Miss Betty. Let's say I do all that. She's like, I need to think about it. I can't talk, and I don't sell her. I'm now gonna take the piece of paper with Miss Betty's name on it, and I'm gonna go ahead and put it in a pile of papers, okay? Then eventually, before you know it, I have papers and papers and papers of clients who I quoted, but I didn't get across the finish line. I have their name, I have their, how much coverage, I got their situation, I got, what I quoted them, and I have stacks and stacks and papers, okay? Now, here's why this is important, because when it's slow, you're not getting your pickups, you're not getting the deals, and you have to make a sale, because my goal was to make a sale every single day, like my life depended on it. So when there's days when things aren't going right, you're getting people, they're saying no, or no one's answering at 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock. If I did not make my sale by noon, well, guess what I would do? I would stop my dialer, I'd go right to my piece of paper, and I'd go highlight and call all the people who are just right there on the finish line that need to get across the finish line. I'd call them and say, hey, Miss Betty, I know we've gotten busy, but I know how important this life insurance was. I know we looked at the $15,000 is now a better time. And I promise you, on the days where I needed the sales, on the days when things were slow, on the days when I had to find a way to make a sale, if it's in the afternoon or in the evening when I'm about to have the last 30 minutes of daylight, when I'm calling and I need to make a sale, I'm stressed, I'm worried, I don't know how I'm gonna make a sale, I have to hit my 1 policy per day. This paper method would save me. This paper method that I'd go to when I needed to make a sale was what saved me and allowed me to create the momentum. So if you use this secret, and how you do it is every time you're quoting someone, every time you're speaking to someone, write it on a piece of paper, use a highlighter too, and then I'd highlight people that I really like. So for example, I'd use like a pink highlighter for people that I want to get, that are right there, that I think I'm going to get. I just need to call them again. I would highlight their name, and eventually I'd turn the the pink highlighter into a yellow highlighter, because I would go ahead and once I sold them, I'd put them in yellow highlighter, and I know that I'd sold them because I followed up with them. So you're not taking advantage of the follow-up game. If all you're doing is focusing on buying new leads or calling new leads and just making money off new leads, you're missing a lot of opportunity, and you're missing the opportunity to make a lot of money on people that you think are like dead leads, people that you just can never sell. Those people just need to be contacted. They need to be called on. They need to be followed up with. And you need to call them like a new lead. And you have, until they tell you to screw off, stop calling me, I don't want you on my phone anymore, leave me the heck alone, then you leave them alone. But until you either get that decision, you got to follow up. You got to put them on a piece of paper, and you got to hunt them down. You got to hawk them down, because eventually those people will convert, and they will convert when you need them the most. And that's when you're going to see that that's how you can get ahead, to always, always, always hit your 8 policies no matter what, to get ahead as a life insurance agent. Cheers.